So at this point in time, I'd like to introduce Kathy Reynolds with the UPEDA to announce this year's UPEDA Award winner.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. And thanks so much, Operation Action UP, for having us, the Upper Peninsula Economic Development Alliance, and thanks Lake Superior Community Partnership, Brent, Ashley, all you folks that and Sarah, everybody that works there. Every year, typically we, other than the last couple of years, I guess, so we have the opportunity through Operation Action UP to be able to award our nonprofit organization, Business of the Year organization. So, and this year, and I'm just going to go ahead and let Tom Coates tell you all about it, but let's give a big hand to the Great Lakes Boat Building School.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for this great award. It really means a lot to a small school like us over in Cedarville. As Kathy said, I'm Tom Coates. I'm the Director of Development at the Great Lakes Boat Building School. I'm not going to be like the presenter before lunch and make someone disappear. Hopefully after a few minutes, you hope that I don't disappear. But we'll keep it short and light and hopefully moving forward. Our president, Nikki Story, couldn't be here today. She's elated that we got this award. She's in Miami at the Miami Boat Show. You can tell I'm a rung or two down. I'm in Marquette, and I'm loving it. But she's down there meeting with manufacturers like Brunswick, Mastercraft, those types of things. Those are organizations that we are looking to partner with. And I was just last week down in Chicago and Northern Indiana meeting with some manufacturers and marinas that hire our students. So again, Great Lakes Boat Building School, there's our contact information. Let me see, I might need, oh, I got it here. Here we go. Here's our mission, Great Lakes Boat Building School. We are the only boat building school in the Great Lakes area. So, and our mission is to prepare students for rewarding careers in the marine industry. That plays right into our vision of being the leader in marine workforce development in the Great Lakes region. What I'd like to do is rather than have me do the talking here, what I'd like to do is show you a video. The gentleman that's talking has way better hair than me. So enjoy a few minutes.
People have been sailing the Great Lakes for centuries, and boats have changed a lot in that time. But one island community in our region is trying to preserve some of the old ways of boat building.
Every year on one Saturday in August, more than 7,000 visitors descend on the small community of Hessel, Michigan to celebrate the unique craftsmanship of antique wooden boats. Hessel is in the Latino Islands on the northern shore of Lake Huron in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The 36 islands are home to some of the most beautiful wooden boats anywhere in the world. Their history in these islands dates back to the early 1900s when summer residents came to the area on steamships.
The steamers would come from Detroit and from Chicago up here, and we had 7 hotels that were all on the lake shore, old wooden hotels.
The Latino Islands became home to boat builders like Chris Craft, a name synonymous with antique wooden boats. In fact, the first Chris Craft boat dealership in the country was opened in Hessel, Michigan in 1926.
So they would use these Chris Crafts or use these antique and classic boats to get to the mainland daily, to go grocery shopping. That was their mode of transportation.
As the years passed, fewer wooden boats were being manufactured and fiberglass boats became the more popular choice. But residents in the Latino communities of Hessel and nearby Cedarville were determined to find a way to preserve the rich tradition of wooden boat building. Bob Smith was part of the group.
We talked about the older craftsmen retiring and there weren't new generations to take their place. Well, with the history of the boat building and Latino in general, we didn't want to lose that craftsmanship.
So the community decided to build a school to teach the art of wooden boat building. The Great Lakes Boat Building School opened its doors in 2005 and has trained more than 200 students who have gone on to successful careers in the marine industry.
Hi Ken, this is Nikki calling from Great Lakes Boat Building School. How are you?
Nikki Story is the school's president.
We offer two programs. We have our comprehensive career wood boat building program, which is the foundation of the school and has been here in place for 16 years. It's evolved and changed over time. And then we also have our marine service technology program, which actually has an exclusive partnership with the marine manufacturer Mercury Marine. So that's a really neat thing about our programs as well.
Each program is 12 months long and has between 12 and 24 students. Most are between the ages of 18 and 45, and most are from the Midwest.
Sometimes we pick up students from the East Coast or the West Coast, but the majority come right here from either Michigan or Wisconsin, Ohio, New York. We pull students from there too. In addition, every year we seem to pull in a student from overseas. We've had a student from France, the Bahamas, Australia, so it just adds a lot to the diversity of the groups here.
That come down at all there, Brennan?
Matt Edmondson was a student at the school before becoming the lead instructor.
Truthfully, because that stuff's waterproof, it's okay if paint doesn't stick to the actual seam. We focus on traditional boat building in the first portion of the year, which is focusing on holding pieces of wood together with mechanical fasteners like rivets and bolts and screws. And then we kind of shift into using the modern materials like epoxy and fiberglass, and how do we kind of marry that with wood to make a modern version of a wooden boat, which we would call wood composite. Cedar strip or a laminated boat would be an example of that. And then we move into restoration. I would say that in the wooden boat world, restoration and repair and maintenance is probably the lion's share of wooden boating as we see it today. A lot of boats to take care of and repair. I would say it draws a lot of interest from the general public because, you know, it's like old cars or old airplanes or whatever. You know, it's cool. It's a piece of our history.
Mike Latch is a student from Michigan.
We learned how to plan out the boats, figure out what needs to go where, proper measurements, how to align everything properly so that way you get a really nice shear line on the boats. If you look at this boat, the way that it rolls as it goes back, learning things like that.
Mike has been working to bring new life to a unique wooden utility boat.
This is a 1950s Lyman. It was donated to the school a few years ago, and I've spent the last 4 months restoring it. Currently, right now, I am sanding it to put the finish coat on the varnished parts of it. Before, I was replacing the planks and the frames and the ribs and the bulkhead, and the transom had to be replaced. Most of it was pretty rotted. It hadn't been taken care of over the last several decades, and so we restored it.
Mike has interviews scheduled with several Michigan marine companies and is even considering working on tall ships in the future.
I'm 95% tactile learner, so I need to work with my hands, and being in an industry where I can work with my hands constantly is exactly what I need. I love doing it every day.
Will Berryhill came to the school from Indiana. His class recently finished building a boat called a skiff.
It needed a floor to be put in, like the seats, the deck, the bulkheads, putting the motor on it. All that stuff still had to be done. So our class took care of that. It was just beautiful when we pulled it out of the finishing room. First time in the sunshine with that, final coat of varnish on there, we just looked at it like, whoa, yeah, we did this.
After finishing the boat building curriculum, Will went on to the Marine Service Technology program working on engines.
Okay, hit it.
Will says he plans to stay in the Latch Islands and work at one of the boat shops in the area when he graduates. He shouldn't have a problem finding employment. The school has a 100% placement rate, and some potential employers have even offered scholarships and sponsorships to students.
All of our students have offers, and actually really great offers. Students going to Wisconsin, students going to Texas, many staying right here in Michigan. It's a thriving industry, and an industry that is just desperate for employees.
We're seeing a peak right now in the marine industry where there's a huge demand for boats and having work done on boats, but there's a huge skills gap, as we see with a lot of other trades as well. So really, students can write their own ticket right now. They can go pretty much wherever they want
Wherever these students go, the lessons of the Latinos and the Great Lakes Boat Building School will hopefully keep the beauty of these wooden boats alive for future generations to enjoy.
It's kind of calling back to a bygone era where things were made a lot more by hand, but then there's also just the boat itself is a beautiful thing to be able to make something, see it on the water, not be sinking, and then to go places in it. There's a unlimited freedom to being on the water.
At Great Lakes Now, we aim to cover the Great Lakes region and the people who live here, like you. Please follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our newsletter at greatlakesnow.org.
This is a key part of our program. One of the a real feather in our cap is we're accredited through the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. This enables us to provide student financial aid to our students, which is a big help in funding their tuition at our school. The summary of our programs are hands-on. Our students spend 80% of their time in the shops, either on the boat building side or the marine service. Focused small classes, usually it's at the maximum, we really 12 to 1 and a lot of one-on-one sessions. It's intense. They're post-secondary programs that last 12 months, and we offer specialized training in the marine industry. This is the kind of a synopsis of the two programs, the comprehensive career boat building side, 100% placement over the past 6 years. And then the marine service technology side, we started that 2 years ago. We've also had 100% placement in that program as well. We have Wallster Marine down in Harbor Springs. They have 2 of our alums that graduated in 2021. They want 4 more. Again, this is a summary of the curriculum. The first semester, we got 3 semesters, introduction to comprehensive boat building, start getting into the wood composites, and then the last part is the restoration program. You can see some of the work that's been done. This is right in our shop, some restoration, some varnish. And then we've got a gentleman, a brief video here of our alum that graduated in 2019. We get students fresh out of high school. We get a lot of career changers, and we found that we provide a lot of educational opportunities to the military through the GI Bill.
The whole reason that I got into wooden boat building was I was in construction. I'm probably closer to middle age right now than I am my 20s. So it was a really big leap to make a change like this. I really didn't know how things were going to play out. I had done my research in the wooden boat industry and saw that on paper there was a demand for this kind of work. The competence of all facets of the school and the people in it just blew my mind. It was a real godsend to have those types of professionals working there, people that cared about you, and it taught me a tremendous amount. And then to graduate, I went on 5 job interviews, which I really wasn't sure there'd be 5 jobs out there once I got done. But there were a number of jobs out there, and I went on 5 interviews. I had 5 job offers. It was a mind-blowing time. I just couldn't believe that this whole thing had led me down this path to something that I like so much. And to be able to wake up every day and not go to the construction site and come here to the classic boat restoration shop has completely changed my life. It's been the best thing that's probably ever happened to me.
That's good stuff right there. Our students are amazing in what they're accomplishing. This is the Marine Service Technology Program side, again, a breakdown of the curriculum. I also have pamphlets that I put on the tables that has this information. Again, kind of an introduction. We start out with basic shop practices. We work with the students even on backing and pulling boats in and out. Marine propulsion is a big part of the program, and marine systems, the electronics, the electric part of it. Just about anything that's in our house is on a boat these days. So we have some great programs, great students coming out, and they are, like I mentioned before, very much in demand. This is a look at the shop. One of our students, in the upper right, brought in that motor and was having problems with it. The students kind of troubleshoot through it and got it running. You'll see the bottom right, they're looking at one of those big Chris crafts with the dual 2 diesels in it, surveying the boat, getting an idea, diagnostics of what is going on inside that boat. We had another video. This is Dave Latch. He's from, he's on our professional advisory board. He's from Walster Marine.
What I think Great Lakes Boat Building School is going to be able to offer the industry, and specifically companies like Walster Marine, is that good foundation entry-level technician that knows the mechanical basics, the electrical basics, systems basics, but also is a little bit more well-rounded than your average person off the street. They're also going to be teaching boatyard etiquette. They're going to be teaching how to interact with people, how to do interviews, how to write a resume, that kind of stuff. More of a well-rounded approach to an employee versus just, giving them those foundations for the mechanical training and then putting them out and saying, you're on your own, basically. So much of what we do on a day-to-day basis is interacting with each other, answering questions, asking questions. The guys and girls here, they all work together as a team. There's nobody that stands alone on their own. So being able to have those interpersonal skills and being able to communicate and work in an environment with other people is very important. Great Lakes Boat Building School is going to kind of encompass all that with the systems program.
And Dave had a big part in when we created the Marine Service Technology. We listened to industry. We listened to what the needs of the marinas and employers are needed and incorporated that into our program. So Dave's a big part of that. Mentioned our partners, industry partners, Mercury Marine University, and then also the ABYC, our bodies that we work very much closely with. This is a slide of the CTE students in the Latino community schools right in our town in Cedarville. In the upper left is a group of students. The gentleman on the far right, I met him on a visit day back in November. He's going to be enrolling in the school this fall. And what Mercury does, they set this up over at the high school. You'll see the Mercury Marine stations with the boats. Each student gets their own toolbox. And we're eager to work with more CTE programs throughout the state. We heard from the Department of Education that they were going to actually stop the small engine CTE programs. They came to see what we were doing and are rethinking that now with more of a marine focus. So when we have an expansion, you'll see out on the table we're starting a capital campaign. We are going to expand our footprint by 50% and then move the CTE program over to our place. Almost 700,000 jobs available in this industry as of 2018. And believe me, when we go out and meet with marinas in Wisconsin, Illinois, Nikki's been hearing it already in Miami, there's very much a need. Matt Edmondson, our lead instructor, talked about the workforce shortage in this industry, and we're playing our role in solving that. These are the starting salaries, or average starting salaries for the marine carpenters, and average pay for a marine technician in the United States. This is a little bit dated, and this is kind of the median. There's some that make way more than this, and maybe some that make a little bit less. I was at a marine in Lake Geneva, and they said that it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for a technician to come out in 2 or 3 years and be making 6 figures. And some of them are making more money than the actual engineers. Where do they work? We've got boat dealerships, Walster Marine down in Harbor Springs. We've got students right at E.J. Murtaugh that was in the Chris Craft dealer in the right down the street. Custom Builders, I stopped at a place in Genoa City, Grand Craft. They make wood mahogany boats there. It came out on a list that they produced of the top Valentine gifts to give, and I guess Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck gave one of their boats to each other, and so it's too late for you guys at Valentine's. Maybe next year start saving up. Manufacturers, restoration shops, marinas, and docks. This is our expansion plan. This is a rendering of the 10,000 square foot building. If you saw the overhead shot, this would be between the current building and the water. There's a house there that we're going to be taking down. This will add more room for the Marine Service Technology Program. We also heard from industry the need for marine electronics, the Garmins, the Bay Marines, all the GPS equipment. And this will also allow us to shift things around, make more room for the comprehensive career boat building program in the existing facility. Might be asking how you can help. You can support our facility expansion. We've been working with the EDA. We have a grant about $2.7 million that is just almost to the finish line. And we need to raise $1.1 million for our match and then some of the equipment and all that goes in there. We really got going in early December. We're just shy of $400,000. So if you know folks that would like their name on the facility or a portion of it or would be supportive, please let me know. Organizations, like mentioned in the video, offer sponsorships where they pay a portion of the student's tuition. That's worked well for one of our marinas. They really like the fact that if they're funding 50 to 75% of it and the student has some of their skin in the game, then they're going to get somebody that's really focused and well-trained at the end. We also accept gifts. We did get that one, Chris Craft, that was in the video, and we got pretty creative. Matt Edmondson had the students saw off the back end of it. You saw that half-daff. They had kept the I.O. in there, and so they can troubleshoot that and work on the marine side of it. The rest of it was used, they poked holes in it and then patched the composite in it. So we get motors, we get engines, and we appreciate those gifts too. I think the biggest way right now, one of the biggest ways is to recommend prospective students. Like I mentioned, we have the demand side is there. We certainly could use some help on the supply side and working with area high schools, CTE programs. We would love to host visits. And also in April, we're going to be going over to the Iron Mountain area up in the Keweenaw to meet with students or to meet with prospective students, their parents, and program managers. The other way is to spread the good news. Share us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all those things. That's all I have. I can do the disappearing act here in a couple of minutes. I'm open to any questions. Thanks again for this award. It means a lot.
Well, Kathy, thank you and our friends at UPEDA for bringing that story to us. Again, I don't know about most of you, but I was totally unaware of the great things being done over in the east end of the UP.